Welcome to our next exit. As you can see, we're finally back on the road. It's been a while since we've done a video. And to be honest, I was thinking about not doing them anymore because that's a lot of work, and we've really been enjoying the last couple of months doing nothing. After the rally, we had the rally in January, and we just kind of been kicking back with the one exception, which I'll tell you here in just a minute. But this here is an old drive-in movie theater that Tom and Lori and Dave, several of our friends, they stopped there when they're heading up to northern Nevada, and we decided that works for us because we're headed up to Reno and we're a day early. So sitting around looking at the old movie theater got us talking about back in the 60s when we were teenagers and all the good times we had going to the drive-in, and it was just great times. And it seemed like with just a little bit of work, this thing could be put back in shape and go watch movies. And Pearl says, well, you need to make a YouTube video. It's been a long time. And she's right, it has. Plus, it seemed obvious to me that Pearl might have had just a little bit more fun at the drive-in movies than I did, or than she should have. So anyway, this is what we've been doing the last couple of months. In our rally, we've got solar on the roof. We've got 1,200 watts of solar that we use to charge up our portable power stations and our old lead acid batteries. And I've been a big proponent of the lead acid batteries, but at the rally, I kind of got sold on these lithium batteries. It's a pretty good way to go. And my concern on lithium batteries, other than expense, was that our coach is an older coach. It's a 2007, and we have a Magnum inverter that doesn't have a charge profile for the lithium batteries. Lithiums have got to be charged at a higher voltage. They don't have an absorb stage. It's just bulk and float. And so I didn't know of any way that I could install the lithium batteries. But one of the guys at the rally, Gary, he upgraded his inverter, and his RV is several years newer, and so his old inverter does have a lithium charge profile that works perfect with it, and he made me a pretty good deal, and it works great. We installed it inside the bay, took out the old one. It was just a plug and play kind of deal. And so if I ever do get lithium, I would have that charge profile taken care of. But there were several more issues. I had to do some research, so I figured it'd be a while before I did it. And one of the advantages of going to this newer inverter that we got from Gary is it produces pure sine wave electricity. And I've always heard of that pure sine wave versus modified sine wave and never give it a whole lot of thought because everything works just fine in the coach. But I've noticed with our portable power stations, the microwave sounds so much smoother. That's the only place we've noticed it. And now this new inverter has pure sine wave. And you can, just listening to it, it sounds just like the microwave at home, just kind of smooth. And our old sine wave, our old inverter that did the modified sine wave, it always felt like it was struggling to get enough power and stuff. When it had enough power, we had the batteries fully charged, but it just didn't sound right. Pure sine wave is a real deal in my opinion now. Well, I'm guessing most of you figured out where this little video is headed. We had about 75 RVs at our rally out in the desert, and maybe not quite half of them had some type of solar system set up on the roof to do the boondocking, and then the rest of them used their generators. And by far, the generators is probably the best way to go, especially if you're out on your own, where the generator noise and the fumes probably don't bother you near as much. But it's nice to have solar. And so what better place to get some good ideas from talking to these folks. It's half the ones that have it, maybe half of them put in their own system, and the other half had it professionally installed. So I got a lot of input from different directions and a lot of ideas. One thing I got to tell you is I'm obviously no expert. All this information I'm going to be saying from here on is just my opinions from what the guys told me. Some stuff was pretty good information. Some stuff seemed a little bit maybe not quite right. So I had to filter from that, and then I made my own decisions. You got to make your own decisions, because putting in a solar system is dangerous. You got a fire hazard. You got a lot of volts and amps moving around on wires. They got to be the right size wires, right size fuses, and everything matched up. So This is just for entertainment purpose. I can kind of walk you through how we set up our system. So if you watched our videos much, you know that we use portable power stations to supplement our lead acid batteries. And we put in 840 watts of solar to charge up our lead acid batteries, and then we put 420 watts of solar to charge up our portable power station. And that worked great. All last summer we boondocked all up in Montana and Wyoming and Idaho, and it really worked out great. But I do have to admit, in traveling with Joe, the computer guy, all last summer, boondocking up in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, he's got either 400 or 600 amp hours of lithium batteries and maybe 1200 watts of solar up on the roof. And it's just a pretty smooth gig. It's so much simpler and easier having it all hooked together where you can monitor it all at once compared to using portable power stations. And we even use portable solar panels sometimes. And Pearl and I both agreed that's the kind of RVing that we really enjoy, and we want to duplicate that again maybe next year. But we want to do it with a complete solar package with lithium batteries and just enjoy the beauty that our country has to offer. So I combined everything. I took these 400 watts and tied it into the system down in the combiner box, and added another solar charge controller and a few more items to tie it all together. And as you can see, our original install for all our solar panels and our wiring and stuff is about $2,500. And then the lithium batteries, we put in two 206 amp SOK batteries. We put in two 206 amp SOK batteries, lithium batteries, and then another solar charge controller and a DC to DC charger. As you can see, that's about $3,000 we spent there. So the total is about $5,500 for our solar system. A lot of people spend a lot more. Some people spend a little bit less, but you can't spend a whole lot less to get this much of a system, I don't think. Well, we were at the rally. Don from Cowboy Biker Adventures, he had a solar system installed on his RV, and I think he spent a little over $10,000 for roughly equivalent to what we've got, except his is professionally installed. That's the difference, the cost of having a professional. And it looks a lot better, and it's totally up to code, where I may have some stuff messed up, but our system is working absolutely perfect. Let me kind of walk you through our how we set it up. Remember, it's not a professional job. This is a good enough for Bob type job. So this is the combiner box where we take our cables from up on the roof down into the coach and then down on into the batteries. So here's where the solar wires come in from the roof, and the original one, I just had this one to start with. So it had a circuit breaker coming into the charge controller, and then there's another circuit breaker right below it, and then it goes down to tying to the batteries. And then we added this second charge controller, and it has a circuit breaker coming into it, then a circuit breaker coming out of it, and then it goes down to the battery box. Down in here. So here's our battery box. There's our starter batteries. And then here's our lithium batteries. And the wires coming from the charge controllers, the negative leads all come down here to our shunt. Both of the charge controllers come to the shunt. And then there's a ground wire going to the lithium batteries. And the positive wires coming to this battery. And this here is the DC to DC charger. It has a circuit breaker between it and the starter. When the engine's running, the alternator will bring current to the starter batteries, and then I've tied into that down to a circuit breaker and into the DC to DC charger, and then out of the DC to DC charger goes to a circuit breaker and then over to the lithium batteries. So from the starter batteries to the DC to DC charger to the lithium batteries. And the negative wire, it hooks over here to the shunt. With the only negative cables on the battery terminals are the one that ties the two together in parallel, and then the one going to the shunt. All other negative connections go to the other side of the shunt. That's so it can measure all the power going in and out of the battery. It has to go through the shunt. And this is a 30, I don't know if you can read it, but anyway, it's a 30 amp DC to DC charger, which means it'll only allow 30 amps to pass through here. Our alternator is 160 amps. Everything else goes to the batteries, to the starter batteries. But 30 amps it'll let come off and go into our lithium batteries while we're driving down the road. And that's to keep your alternator from overheating, because these lithium batteries will just take all the power they can get, and they'll have your alternator running at full bore the whole time you're running. And it'll burn up your alternator eventually, so they say. And that's our lithium setup. And then the last thing I had to do is that lead acid batteries and the lithium batteries don't play good together. I haven't installed my last on-off thing for the 400 watts of solar. And they have a connection where you have a button up in the driver's seat where you can hook your house batteries to your starter batteries. And I had to unhook that just so that if that button gets pushed, it doesn't connect these two batteries together, to keep them separate. That's our solar system. There you have it, folks. If you'd asked me 6 months ago did I think we'd purchase lithium batteries, I'd have said no way in heck. But last summer was such a great year for us, RVing around the country. We want to do more of it, and I think these lithium batteries makes it just that much easier to get out and find a place to park out in the wilderness. We spent a week up at Lake Mead just outside of Las Vegas, and although the water's down probably 100 foot or something, it's way down. The water used to be, before we started going there, the water used to come all the way up to the campground almost. It's called Boulder Beach Campground, but the beach is like a quarter of a mile down the road nowadays. But the point is, it's a beautiful place, but there's no hookups. There's no water, sewer, electric at your site that you can, they have a dump site when you pull in, and they have water spigots around. But we were there for a week. We never started the generator once. We didn't have to use our portable power stations. We would get down to maybe 60% every morning. It was just awesome. Although, you know, the weather was nice. It's 68 to 75 every day. We didn't need a heater, didn't need air conditioning. So it was wonderful. A lot of good spots. They really upgraded it. Every spot is paved pad, and there's trees and shade and all kinds of stuff. So if you're thinking about boondocking, definitely think about getting some solar. Portable power stations will help you supplement your lead acid batteries. And if you can swing it, think about getting these lithium batteries. They're the way to go. And we're really anxious to put them to use. So thanks for watching our video. I don't know when we'll do another one. We're headed up to Reno to visit family. Then we're going on up to Oregon and Washington. And get to visit the Pacific Ocean. We got a brand new great grandbaby. We got like 13 grandkids. So we got a lot of family to see and a lot of camping to do. So thanks for watching. Till we see you guys again next time. Keep the wheels rolling. Stay safe. We'll see you the next day. So long, folks. Bye-bye.